Hey up everyone, today I'm going to talk about Hooligan motorcycles, those bikes that just beg to be ridden hard, wheelied, stoppie-d and generally thrashed to within an inch of their lives. They're the two-wheeled equivalent of a punk rock concert, loud, rebellious and a whole lot of fun. So what makes a bike a true hooligan? Well, that's a combination of factors. But agile handling, punchy engines, an upright riding position and a certain attitude are all part of the equation. These bikes aren't about comfort, speed or practicality, they're about raw, unadulterated riding pleasure. So without further ado, let's dive into my top 5 picks for the ultimate hooligan motorcycles. Although the caveat to that is that there are some honourable mentions at the end that I have previously included in other videos. A quick reminder, if you enjoy the content, please try and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Sharing the video anywhere you think people will be interested helps us a lot too. There is more about the channels here on YouTube and on Rumble and in the Crofy group later, so I'll leave that for now. I'm going back to the countdown format today, starting at 5 and ending with the bike that to me holds the title of the best hooligan motorcycle of all. To stop me having to repeat myself all the time too, the following speeds come up throughout the video. 100 km per hour is around 62 miles per hour, 150 km an hour is around 93 miles per hour, and 200 km per hour is around 125 miles per hour. After this, I would just use the kilometers per hour figures. First today, at number 5, we have a bike that helped Yamaha revitalise their range. The Yamaha MT09, with its distinctive 3-cylinder engine and aggressive styling, for once matched the marketing, as Yamaha invited everyone to join the dark side. It is a hooligan bike that's hard to ignore. Its compact and lightweight chassis makes it incredibly agile and fun to throw around. The 850cc 3-cylinder engine at the heart of the MT09 has a one-of-a-kind, exhilarating power delivery. In standard road mode, it's smooth and linear at low revs, but builds to a thrilling crescendo as you climb the rev range. But flick the switch to ASBO mode, and the slightest twitch of the throttle will have your front wheel reaching skywards. For those used to a Domino fast-action throttle, that's fine, but for those who aren't, just stay in standard mode until you are used to the bike. The distinctive sound of the triple adds to the bike's character and makes it instantly recognisable. The MT09 is a bike that wants you to be playful, to explore its capabilities and generally have a wild time. When released in 2014, it weighed in at around 190 kilos or 418 pounds wet, and would kick out around 114 horsepower and 87 newton meters or 65 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 100 kilometers was hit in around 3.4 seconds, and you got to 150 kilometers in around 7.8 seconds. Keeping the revs high was the way to get the most out of the MT09, with peak torque not coming in until 8,500 RPM. But the slick gearbox made keeping it on the boil easy. Its responsive throttle and agile handling make it a joy to ride on twisty roads, and it has an upright but forward-leaning riding position, and switch gear and controls are all well thought out, making longer rides a breeze. The MT09 has a range of electronic rider aids, including traction control, multiple rider modes and even a quick shifter as time went on. These features can help manage the bike's power and that sharp throttle response, but they don't make it my favourite bike here. The MT09 has its own unique styling, and although that has developed over time, it reflects the bike's hooligan nature well. It's a bike that looks fast even when it's standing still, but the MT09 is a versatile and capable motorcycle that's equally at home in city streets, back roads, motorways, or even the occasional track day. It's a bike that is sure to provide plenty of thrills for any riders. At number 4, we have the closest thing to a real supermoto on the list today. The KTM SMC 690, first released in 2008, is a single-cylinder scalpel designed for tearing up the track, slicing through urban jungles and carving through the back roads. It has pure supermoto DNA, with long travel suspension, dirt bike ergonomics, and a punchy engine that loves to be revved. The 690cc single-cylinder engine delivered around 63 horsepower when it was first released, and that's been pushed up to over 73 horsepower now. But the early 63 horsepower version was already putting down 65 Nm of torque, and with a dry weight of under 140 kilos or 305 pounds, it's incredibly responsive and fun to ride. With the KTM SMC 690, it's about the way the power is delivered, and it makes you feel like you're riding a rocket-powered bicycle. 0 to 100 km per hour was hit in around 4 seconds, but by the time you hit 150 km per hour in around 8 seconds, you will be falling behind some of the bikes here without some heroic riding. The SMC 690 is incredibly agile and flickable though. It changes direction with the slightest input, making it a perfect weapon for supermoto, moto gymkhana, or any tight twisty roads. The upright riding position gives you excellent visibility and control, allowing you to confidently navigate through traffic and tackle twisty roads. The long travel suspension soaks up the bumps, and even on less than perfect surfaces, it's a joy. Built to tackle anything short of the Erzberg Rodeo, the original SMC 690 was a relatively simple machine, without a lot of electronic gadgetry to get in the way, and this simplicity adds to its charm and makes it a more engaging and rewarding bike to ride. As with many, that has changed over the years, and not always for the better, as you will see. The KTM SMC 690 is a bike that encourages you to be playful and can turn you into a complete idiot very quickly. It inspires confidence wherever you are riding, so whether you are carving through twisty back roads, popping wheelies, or just blasting through the traffic, the SMC 690 delivers a thrilling and addictive riding experience. It will put a smile on your face every time you twist the throttle. Next, at number 3, we go to the other end of the spectrum, where we have 2 bikes, not just one. The Triumph Street Triple 675 and the 765 RS are refined and sophisticated hooligans. They offer a blend of performance and handling that's won them many friends over the years. The original iconic design has now become more sleek and modern, but it gives the bike a premium and sophisticated look when compared to bikes like the SMC 690. This is a package with a powerful engine and an agile chassis that delivers an electrifying riding experience. The 765cc triple engine is a gem, providing a smooth and linear power delivery with a healthy dose of torque through what seems like an endless rev range. When first released as the Street Triple 675 in 2007, it weighed just 167 kilos or 368 pounds dry, and it produced around 105 horsepower and 68 Newton meters or around 50 foot-pounds of torque. But that torque didn't arrive until you hit almost 10,000 RPM, making this a rev-hungry bike. By 2019, in its final 765 RS form, power had been pushed up to 121 horsepower, a maximum torque of 77 Newton meters or 57 foot-pounds didn't hit until almost 11,000 RPM. But importantly, it had kept that 165 kilo dry weight, because it was that light weight that helped make the overall package as addictive to ride as it is. On the 675, you get a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of around 3.4 seconds, and you hit 150 kilometers an hour in around 6.5 seconds. But by then, the engine is just getting into its stride, and this is where the old school wins. Without the electronic clutter and the new regulations, the early 675cc triple will hit the 200 km per hour point in just 9.7 seconds, just over a quarter of a second faster than its bigger brother. On the 765, those times drop off the line, but not as much as you might think. 0 to 100 km per hour is hit in about 3.3 seconds, but you hit 150 km per hour in around 6 seconds. But then the 675 pulls it back, because the 765 doesn't reach 200 km per hour until just over 10 seconds. Both bikes are responsive and eager to rev, and the Street Triple's handling is precise and predictable, with great suspension and a well-balanced chassis. It's incredibly agile and flickable, letting you carve through corners with confidence and precision. You do have a real choice here too. The Street Triple 675 is a simpler beast for those of us that like that simplicity, and the 765 RS is packed with technology for those who want the tech. The Street Triple's comfortable ergonomics and upright riding position make it easy to muscle around, and it's still surprisingly well suited for longer rides. Its compact size and light weight make it easy to manoeuvre, and the refined engine with the distinctive note of that rev-hungry triple does add to the bike's character. It's a pleasure to ride and a joy to listen to. A bike that's at home anywhere, but on the track or on empty twisty roads and mountain passes, it comes alive. The Street Triple is a true all-rounder, offering a blend of performance and practicality with a little more sophistication than many of the bikes here. But that Hooligan is always bubbling just underneath the surface, waiting to be released. Next, at number 2, we have a bike I'm a bit biased about, to be fair. It isn't perfect, but what a hoot it is to ride. The Aprilia SMV 750 Dorsaduro arrived in 2007 and was Aprilia's attack on the high-powered supermoto market. It was a stylish and versatile Hooligan machine with aggressive styling, sharp lines and exposed mechanics. It was distinctive and eye-catching on the road. The 750cc V-twin engine churns out smooth linear power, making it easy to control and fun to rev. It's not as raw or explosive as some of the other bikes on this list, but it still provides plenty of punch for spirited riding. It weighed 186 kilos or 409 pounds dry, and is far from the most powerful bike on the list. It hits its max power of around 92 horsepower at 8,750 RPM and max torque of 82 Newton meters or just over 60 foot-pounds hits at around 4,500 RPM, giving it a fat, wide power band. There was no upper shelf on the torque curve. It just went on and on from 4,000 RPM right up to over 9,000 RPM. But after 8,500, there was little to be lost and more to be gained by just shifting up. You get a 0 to 100 time of around 4 seconds, and you hit 150 km per hour in around 8 seconds, so it is one of the slower bikes off the mark here, but that's only part of the story. Carefully selected gear ratios mean you always seem to drop into the meat of the engine's torque, and if you are desperate for more power, you'll be pleased to hear that you have several bigger choices. In 2011 we got a 1200 Dorsaduro, and in 2017 a 900. My only real gripe was always the size of the fuel tank. The Dorsa's handling is precise and predictable. Aprilia took all the lessons they had learned from the SXV project and bolted in their new 750cc engine. What could you not like about that concept? The chassis was the same trellis combined with cast end plate system that they had used on the SXV. It was just beefed up, and it worked brilliantly. Finished off with quality suspension and great cycle parts and components, it's one of the sweetest handling bikes I've ever ridden. The upright riding position makes you feel like king of the road, while the wide bars give you great leverage for quick direction changes. I would say it's easy to muscle around, but it isn't. You don't need to muscle it around. Push the bars and it's gone. The steering is that fast. Aprilia has given the Dorsaduro a full suite of electronics, which isn't my choice, but they have had more experience with it than most companies, and it is more user-friendly than many. Later, bigger models had more power and even more electronics to help control that power, but the 750 has a special place in my heart, and it's just a pleasure to ride. It blends the supermoto ideal with a touch of Street Fighter and a bucket load of style. The Dorsaduro is a bike for riders who want a hooligan of a bike that can handle twisty back roads, track days, or even light off-road use. The Dorsaduro's V-twin engine is beautiful, and the exhaust note will always turn heads. It will attract crowds of admirers and provide plenty of smiles every time you turn the key. If you haven't already, just go and ride one, just for the crack. Finally, at number 1, we have, in my opinion, the ultimate hooligan. The Ducati HyperMotard 1100 is a hooligan's dream come true. This Italian stallion is all about aggressive styling and exhilarating performance, embodying the spirit of supermoto, but with a bit more of everything. The wide bars, upright riding position and minimalist design scream wheelie machine, and with that air-cooled 1100L twin engine, you have more than enough grunt to back up the looks. The earliest 1100cc model was built in 2007 and weighed in at just 180 kilos or 395 pounds dry. It would kick out around 90 horsepower, but around 103 newton meters or 76 foot-pounds of torque. The Evo SP Corsa Edition, with all its carbon fibre bling, weighed slightly less at 172 kilos or 379 pounds, but the difference is negligible and more about cosmetics. This bike isn't about straight line speed. It was built for the curves, and its lightweight chassis and responsive handling make it a joy to throw around in the corners. It's the kind of bike that encourages you to explore the boundaries of grip and to generally misbehave. 0 to 100 km an hour takes around 3.5 seconds in the right hands, and you hit 150 km per hour at around 7.2 seconds. After that, things calm down a bit, but short of shifting into max the max torque point at just above 4,500 RPM will see the front wheel clawing at the air whatever gear you are in. The later water-cooled Monster and HyperMotard are faster for sure, but the early HyperMotards aren't cluttered by some of the extra electronic rider aids of later models, so they offer a purer, more connected riding experience. This rawness to me is part of what makes it such a hooligan machine. You're not insulated from the road, you're directly engaged with it. feeling every bump and every slide, every surge of power. The muscular but minimal design makes it a bike that demands attention and deserves respect, but it rewards you with a truly unforgettable riding experience. The sound of that Desmo L-twin echoing through the streets will always make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and the clatter of the dry clutch just adds to that. It's a visceral, mechanical symphony that perfectly complements the bike's rebellious nature. The HyperMotard 1100 isn't a bike for everyone. It's not refined or subtle, it's loud, brash, and wants to be ridden hard. But for those who crave that raw, untamed riding experience, it's an absolute masterpiece. Well, these are my top 5 picks for the ultimate hooligan motorcycle. As you can see, it's not all about speed or power for me. These bikes are about raw riding and pleasure, encouraging you to push your limits and have a damn good time. They're not about practicality or comfort, they're about the pure, unadulterated thrill of riding. But before I go, I have to cover a few notable omissions. I have featured the Aprilia SXV 550 in the 12 more breathtaking Italian motorcycles video, which I featured the Aprilia SXV 550 in the 12 more breathtaking Italian motorcycles video linked in the description, where I also talked about the 209, and both would have been at home here in this list. I also featured the Husqvarna Nuda in the Maverick Bikes video. And then, of course, there is the Indian FTR 1200, KTM 1290 Super Adventure, Ducati Monster 1200, Yamaha MT10, and even the MV Agusta Brutale could have been included. I could have gone on and on, but as always, I have to stop somewhere. I may return to do an additional video if it goes well. What do you think? Do you want to follow up? Which bikes would you choose as your hooligan special? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks as always to everyone for all the support. Do try and remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video anywhere you think people will be interested. If you'd like to help us to stay truly independent, you can make a one-off donation or join our group of monthly subscribers on the Ko-fi link in the description. There you get access to a private group where I share videos I can't screen on YouTube. Join us on Rumble too. The channel is new, but it's already got some great content up. Don't forget, we make the best biker t-shirts too. Hundreds of original designs on premium quality t-shirts and neck gaiters, all available worldwide. Links to the main website and the Redbubble shop are in the description. Have a great week, and always remember, keep your spanners close and your keys even closer. Ride free, everyone! Ride free, everyone!